Welcome back to Blizzard Abroad. Today I want to talk about a topic that nobody's talking about in these spaces. I want to talk about men quietly quitting. What I mean by that is, I'm not just talking about work or their jobs. What I'm talking about is men quietly quitting on life. And the worst part about it is that, nobody seems to notice or even care. Nobody's talking about it. We talk about hustle culture and we'll talk about burnout. But what about the man who's given up on not just his dreams, but on himself? And we got to be honest about this. A lot of men aren't screaming for help. You know, they're just going silent, and still getting up, they're still going to work, coming home, but they're sinking inside. You know, not into drugs or violence necessarily, but into silence. Into isolation, into detachment. You can see it in their eyes. You hear it in the conversations that they have. You know, they have this quiet look that lets you know that they're here, but they're not living. You know, they're still handling all their responsibilities, man. But they've lost that spark. They've lost that hope, and they've forgotten the plan or the dreams that they have for themselves. Men are told to man up, but they're never asked, why they're down. You know, we're expected to carry the world, but God forbid we slip. God forbid we drop a piece sometimes. And then when we finally break, people act surprised. This isn't weakness, man. It's fatigue. It's being worn down. Some men are exhausted. You know, always pretending that we're fine. You know, we're always being told that we're privileged, while most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. You know, a lot of men are tired of being strong for everyone else but themselves. Right? Think about it, man. We give our lives in our youth to provide. You know, we give our strength to protect. We give our peace so we can provide peace to other people. You know, and what do we get in return? For most of us, it's silence, it's criticism, and sometimes it's even abandonment. You know, so what do you do with that? When you wake up and start realizing that, you check out slowly, quietly, without most of the time without hoopla, without fanfare. And I'm not talking about suicide. That's a whole nother issue, man. I'm talking about just giving up and seeing your dreams die, your hopes die. You um, if you ask most men what they want out of life, man, the answer is going to be something simple: peace, respect. You know, not mansions, not millions. Just to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. To matter. But society doesn't teach men to ask for help. It teaches them to suffer in silence. I know this. I've lived this. I've experienced it. We all have. You know, society teaches us to keep showing up even on an empty tank. And the truth is, a lot of men are loyal to a life that never loves us back. You know, jobs that replace them on a whim. You know, families that, although they love them, they forget them. You know, systems that use us. That's why I started Blizzard Abroad, man. Not just to talk about travel, but to just talk about truth for the everyday man. You know, to show men that you're not alone. You know, and even though society It seems like society doesn't care about us, man. It's up to us to care about ourselves. You know, this channel's for the everyday man. It's not about running away. It's about remembering who you are and reclaiming your joy, reclaiming your life, and finding peace where your feet are planted at. You know, so if you're thinking about quiet quitting, if you're thinking about escape and running away, you know, that's your right, but you don't have to. You don't have to, man. You need to connect to a brotherhood. The brotherhood is here for you. You know, it's about finding outlets that work for you. It's about asking for help, not waiting or expecting anybody else to help you. We know nobody's coming to save us. So it's up to us to seek the help, to seek the resources, to seek our peace, to seek our path on our own. You know, let me know what you think in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have you ever quiet quitted on life? Do you know people who are right now? Because I do, you know, and I just want you to know that Blizzard Abroad is here. We do a live stream every Friday, an open forum. Anything you guys want to talk about, any subject, anything you want to get off your chest, man. That's what Blizzard Abroad is here for, man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, Blizzard Abroad.
Blizzard abroad, peace in my hands, I'm the mission. Brotherhood tie worldwide with a vision. Left the pain back, no rewind, no submission. Real talk, real man, it's my soul's ambition. Walking through shadows, I found light in a rebel. Built from the ashes, turn my grind into muscle. No more trust for the snakes, dodging all of the hustle. Inner peace, loud victory through the struggle. Feet touch foreign land, still grounded in my roots.